Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Yes, welcome to another live on tonight. I'm so happy to have you all on tonight. Y'all mean the world to me, and I'm so grateful. I'm starting a little bit, starting right now. I do have a very special guest for you all, and just waiting for more people to come on as well before I bring the guest in. Hallelujah, Halloween. Halloween. And as I do with all of my lives, I'm going to sing a little bit for you all. So that way you can see what your child is doing, what your favorite person in the world is doing. And as I do with all of so, and I am very excited. Sing a little bit for you. So, yeah. But I pray that your week is going well, and I'm waiting for some more people to come on before we dive right in. So, Lord, give me a praying spirit, a praying spirit. Lord, help me to say, yeah. Ooh, yes, Lord. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, Lord. Yes. Ooh, Lord. Yes, Lord. Oh, yes. Ooh, Lord. Yes, Lord. Thank you for watching. Oh, yeah. Ooh, Lord. Yes, Lord. And if you're watching, please say hello, like, and share this with your friends and your family. I really want y'all to be on. And I'm here, y'all, just checking on something with this live feed. And thank you all that are watching on Facebook and on I forgot it. So hello, everybody. I have a very special guest on tonight, my big brother, a creative person, actor, model, writer as well. Introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Matthew Carter. Can you hear me? Is it too much background noise?
I can actually hear you very well.
Okay, perfect. Well, my name is Matthew Carter, born and raised in Daytona Beach, Florida. I now reside in New York City. I am a self-published author, actor, model, and a gospel mime. A few other things. I do have a nonprofit organization, and as you know, I was working on creating, and still going to be doing that in the future, a magazine along with the organization to kind of push the people that I'm going to be coming in contact with that I want to also help boost as I'm boosting myself, because it's definitely about building with each other. And have a movie that I actually put together that's on YouTube called War Angel: The Awakening. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that I'm doing.
Awesome. And thank you again for coming on tonight to discuss tonight's topic. Very quickly, tell us about War Angel.
Well, War Angel was actually inspired after working on a film called Bessie. And I decided to go ahead and start talking about my personal experiences, especially after being diagnosed. As you see, I'm wearing a shirt that says HIV Lives. It actually says HIV Lives Matter.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and War Angel is one of those things that I wanted to kind of share my story by allowing other people to see that they don't have to be ashamed of who they are for the most part. So War
Exactly.
Angel, he's pretty pretty much a hero fighting for people who are afraid to speak out and speak on certain things.
That is awesome. And thank you for doing that film, for creating and allowing those creative juices to flow. That means so much that you would do that, especially in today's society where people just want something that they can relate to, especially when it
Right.
comes to HIV, living in the communities that we are a part of. So, thank you again so much for just sharing with us. I've watched your lives. I watch your lives, and they have me lit. They have me absolutely lit. And you are awesome. Oh gosh, how long have we known each other for?
Oh my, it's
A few years
been
now.
yeah, it's been a while.
Okay. So everybody
Has
that's watching tonight and even on the replay, up on the replay, come on, DJ, want you to turn the music up. Many of you all are watching, many of you all have seen the flyer that I put out on last week. So tonight we are talking about life with HIV. And as many of you all know, and some of you all may be hearing this for the first time, I was diagnosed with HIV in 2012. And it's had its ups and it's had its downs. Matthew, tell us a little bit about your experience living with HIV. You can start at any point.
I mean, it was very hard. Again, this is one of the reasons I had to go ahead and create War Angel, because this was one of the crosses that God let me know I had to go ahead and bear to be able to help other people. And for me, when I first got diagnosed, I started asking God, why did He abandon me? Why did He give me this curse of death? And I just had a lot of questions. I literally felt like my life was over. I felt as though I was dirty. I was disgusting. No one would want to be in a relationship with me. So it kind of pushed me to stay in a relationship that I wasn't happy with, but I felt like I may as well stay there because this person transmitted something to me, and now I'm trapped in this relationship. So I had a lot of depression that I was dealing with. It took a lot of prayer. It took a lot of self soul searching to finally find my worth and to finally understand that I control my destiny, not the diagnosis. I control my destiny. And I can decide on whether or not I want to die with something or live with something. And I chose life.
And I completely agree with you and share those sentiments. For me, when I was diagnosed with HIV, it was a very crucial time for me. Trying to find myself, and at one point in time, I had been engaged in sex work, and coming off of the heels of that, and also trying to figure out who I was. And so I was using poor judgment when it came down to how I interacted, how I carried myself sexually.
And and that's true. It's like for me, I didn't even want to engage in sex with anyone. I literally felt dirty. I felt, and I guess it was also too because I didn't get a choice.
Hmm.
It was just something I felt like I was trapped. Like the person literally was like, if I can't have you, no one can. And they literally just threw something into my life that I didn't ask for. And I know how it made me feel. And I
Hmm.
didn't want anyone else feeling that way. And I said, you know what? Let me tell people. So it was so crazy because I was honest with people. That's what really started to open the doors for me to show me that, the honesty was something that people was really attracted to. And they felt as though I was giving them that option of whether or not they could be with me. And it kind of made them lean a little bit towards wanting to give me the chance and give someone who is diagnosed the chance to be in a relationship with them. And HIV didn't even matter anymore. It was all about respect for the most part. And also that support system. I kind of prepared myself for the worst.
Hmm.
And because I prepared myself for the worst, it allowed me to also endure.
Yes, yes, and that's the key word, enduring. because us that live with HIV, we have to endure a lot. We have to endure the stigma. We also have to endure the rejection because of our status, the rejection because of who we are, and whom, for some, whom we choose to love. And people's favorite questions are, how did you catch HIV? Or do you know who contracted it to you? Like, were you out there hoeing? Were you out there sleeping around? And a lot of times that's not the case at all.
It's so many different ways you can get it. It's like, for instance, like I said, I got it from someone who I was in a relationship with, and they didn't tell me that they were sleeping around. So just because you're HIV positive, and I think that's the bad thing about it too. Just because you have HIV, I mean, it's so many negative stereotypes around the word HIV.
Hmm.
They assume, not saying that only gay people get it, but they call it the gay disease, and that is something that I'm definitely trying to keep people from saying. Also, too, people assume just because you have HIV, you're automatically sick. So that was another thing I had to kind of help people to understand. Just because someone's diagnosed, it doesn't automatically make them sick. So when I would tell people I have HIV, oh, are you sick? Are you going to the hospital? That doesn't mean that I'm dying. It just simply means I have a diagnosis. But it takes a lot, and it takes a strong mind when you're surrounded by people like that to overcome those stereotypes, because it can be a lot.
Hmm. And I agree, it can be a lot and overwhelming. In my experience, when I tell people um, I am living with HIV, they have some questions. Some questions go a little, crossing boundaries and stuff. But yeah, I have gotten to a point now to where I tell people I'm not sick, I'm not dying, I am perfectly healthy. Um, Go ahead and cross into this if you want. Even with dating and being on dating apps,
Mm.
you see a lot of people say, and you see this on Facebook as well. A lot of people will be like, "Well, I want somebody clean.
Yeah.
Um, they have to be drug and disease free." It's like, really, are we doing this now? Is this how we're doing it? Like, for real? So,
And then it's a lot of people too, just because you tell them you're HIV positive, they assume that you're desperate for love, that you're desperate for attention, that you're desperate for affection, and you will allow them to treat you any kind of way because they're doing you a favor by being in your presence or being with you, even sexually. So it really takes a strong person or somebody who is willing to fight for people and let them know that you don't have to accept that shit.
mm,
You don't have to accept
exactly.
that kind of stuff. But you
Mm.
definitely got to learn yourself, because if you don't love yourself for who you are, people are going to definitely treat you any kind of way.
Exactly. And with the rejection, what are some of the experiences that you've had, especially with dating or just meeting new people, building your network, building your circle of friends? How have you faced any rejection or backlash, or even by you being very vocal about your HIV status in your work? What is some of the feedback that you've gotten?
Well, I think a lot, to be honest with you, because I've shown people how strong I am. It kind of pushes a lot of people who have that mentality of trying to make me feel or belittle me. It
Mhm.
kind of causes them to stand back. Um, and when they do make that attempt, I definitely reassure and let them know I love me. I'm strong by myself. You're not someone who is completing me. You're someone who's adding to me of what I'm doing. And for me, it was like a test. And that was
Mhm.
another reason why I'm so upfront about it. If I tell you upfront about this diagnosis, I want to see for who you are. Kind of like what's going on right now with the racism.
Right.
I want to see you for who you really are. And when you reject me and try to treat me a certain way, I'm not going to feel bad. You're simply showing me you're someone who don't deserve to be in my circle. So you're excused. Exit stage left.
Say that. Say that. Say that. And you know what's crazy? You mentioned racism. I
Mhm.
actually have had the displeasure of being on certain apps, and when someone, our non-melanated brethren, hallelujah, our unseasoned family, they will come to you with these strong advances, sending pictures of things that we may not want to show the public. And sometimes
Right.
it's gross what you see. Hallelujah. But when you reject them, often you get called the N word and they'll say, I hope you die of AIDS.
Right.
And I'm like,
Right.
whoa, all of this because I rejected you?
Right.
Like, for
And
real.
and I think that's something else that prepared me for the AIDS, HIV. I grew up in a racist, very racist city for the most part. So I had to learn how to deal with people who hated me simply because of my skin color.
Mhm.
And then after that, when I came out that I was attracted to men and bisexual, now I had to deal with that from church folks and being bashed by church folks. So when AIDS came, I already had two opportunities that taught me how to deal with ignorant people.
Mhm.
So now I was prepared, but it was for me, it was more mentally how to really love me and accept myself. And I just literally kind of reflected on those moments and said, you know what, you was able to
Mhm.
deal with this and deal with that, you can deal with this. Because people would definitely, and I just noticed how they would try to find something to make you feel less than who you are simply because you are not interested in it.
Exactly. And I actually had I have so many experiences that I can share myself with dating and living with HIV. I had someone that was interested in me, and at the time I was in a leadership position at a church down south. And this person, because I had to handle something with one of the church members that were in crisis, and I'm, going to different places, seeing what's going on. And this person says to me, I had let them know from the jump, hey, I'm HIV positive. This is what you have to deal with if you're dating me. Not to mention that I'm going through a major transition.
Mm,
So because I didn't answer my phone, I get text messages saying, oh, you infected bitch, you sick person. Yeah, you're sick. That's why you got what you got playing with people. I said,
wow.
number one, goodbye. I'm not going to even acknowledge you said that. So I'm just going to block you. And a couple of years later, they're in my DMs again. And I'm like, girl, bye. Like, I
Mm,
still haven't forgotten how, because I could not make time for you in that instant, you
mm-hmm,
decided to do health reads on my HIV status. And you see that a
mm,
lot, especially in the LGBT, the Black queer community, the Black trans communities,
mm,
where they're instantly, when they get upset with someone, they instantly start the health reads.
right,
And
right.
they get brutal when it comes to HIV.
Yeah. And see me, I know I'm different from some people. You know, everybody don't have a spiritual belief. Everybody don't have a belief in God. I know for me, I have a belief in God. I believe God. I trust God, and I truly have a relationship with Him. So that has been my saving grace for the most
Mhm,
part. And that was one of my things. I literally would always say, "Wow, God, you don't love me. You don't love me." One of the things again with War Angel is
mhm.
my mission is to let people know who do believe in God and trust God, to let them know this is not a sign of abandonment at all.
Right.
You know, even with being gay, it's like literally one thing I've learned being gay is the ultimate test for someone who claims they love God and walk in that life. Because if you can't love me for who I am, how can you say you love God? Because God is love, but you have so much hatred in you just by me being in the room. I didn't even say anything to you, but you hate the fact that I'm living in my truth, but you're afraid to live in yours. That's not my fault. Don't blame me
Exactly.
for loving me.
And
So,
and you said something true. A lot of times people will reflect their insecurity on you
yeah,
and use the thing that's a sore spot for you.
yeah, yeah,
And
they
those
will. And
those health reads, especially coming from the church, because so long in the especially the Black church, they are malicious with it, especially in the old days.
Very.
where you would hear over the pulpit, y'all need to get it together. You're going to catch AIDS and die. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. So we're teaching now that HIV and AIDS is a punishment for. I'm sorry, I can't get with that doctrine. I do believe in consequences of your actions, be it positive or negative. But to say that someone is cursed, you know, and I felt like that when I contracted HIV because I had a church that I was a part of at one time. I left because they would try to curse people that they figured was homosexual or that
Mm,
they deemed less than.
mm,
And a lot of preaching and teaching has been done out of ignorance when it's not. You have
yeah,
a lot of heterosexual people that
yeah,
are living with HIV, but they're hush hush about it because of the stigma, especially coming from religious circles.
exactly. Because the first thing they say is you must have slept with a man if it's another man who's straight and has HIV. Oh, you must have slept with a man because that's a gay disease. And for me, it started really revealing the level of ignorance with people. And I had to even tell some of the people that were in my family, stop using certain words because you don't know what you're talking about. You know, good thing I was able to endure and build a relationship with God. Because a lot of people still ask me, after everything you've been through, how is it that you can still trust and believe in God? And I say it's simply because I went to Him first, even after being told not to question Him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to understand certain gifts that I have on the spiritual level. So I had visions and I paid attention to those visions. And then I would ask God for certain things and He would actually deliver to me certain things to answer the questions that I had. Even with being diagnosed, I said, God, why did you curse me? Now I'm cursed. I'm cursed to die. And He asked me, who do you know is living forever? So that's what really turned the tables for me to understand. Stop saying what you're dying with and say what you're living for.
Exactly.
Speak life. Stop speaking death. Speak life into your existence and do that for other people so they can have life and enjoy the life despite a diagnosis.
And, I could go in off of that. Yes, go. Let me stop because I will go in for real. You have to be careful with that, honey, because just one thank you
Mm-hmm.
that will obliterate the scene right there.
Mm,
And you know, when living with this, especially facing the stigma and ignorance, it can be very detrimental to one's mental health. And I advise to everyone that's watching, if you're living with HIV or you know someone that is, please be a help to them. Educate
yes,
yourself. Not only that, I will say this: if you are living with HIV, it is okay to see a therapist. Don't go at this alone by yourself
right.
because we can feel unworthy or unloved because we are carrying this. And there are many times where your girl, she gets in one of those spots, where
Mm,
it's like, oh my gosh, especially when dating and meeting people that you're interested in, and you intend on having some kind of sexual contact with them, the fact that is I believe in disclosure. I really do. I don't care if you're undetectable, if you're, you know, healthy, still disclose. And I
right.
disclose for one or two, a lot of reasons I disclose, of course, because it's law. I also disclose because I want to see what kind of person I'm dealing with. Can you handle not just the priestess, but can you handle the things that come with me, the things that I
Yes.
have to deal with on a daily basis, the fact that I have to take a pill in order to remain healthy, that I have to go to regular doctor visits, certain things I can't interact with, certain things I may not be able to do, you know.
And I
And
also tell people too, because it's like everybody I talk to, like I said, they don't have a spiritual belief. So you don't have to believe in God, but at least believe in yourself, and keep that in mind too. You're just because you're diagnosed with HIV, you're not disgusting, you're not nasty. And keep in mind, the reason that you want to disclose is if you disclose early enough, like you don't have to disclose on the very first date. You can try to see if this is somebody that you're even attracted to on a level past attraction physically. And if it seems like it's somebody that you really possibly can be with, then I would say disclose because you don't want to get deep into a relationship like 6 months and then disclose and find out this is somebody who don't or can't handle the fact that you're positive. So if you disclose
Exactly.
early enough, you can kind of break that, and your heart is not so tied to that person.
And that is well said because um I think also, thank you, Sayun. Thank you so much for chiming into the conversation. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh my gosh, this is one of my mentors in podcasting. And let me
Oh,
know if I
okay.
pronounced the name correctly as well. Thank you. Um, One of the things I will say about disclosure, it's always about timing. And we sometimes we don't get it right all the time. We don't get it,
Right.
100%. And it's a learning process, but also I believe that however the timing happens, that says a lot about the person that you are because you have
Hmm.
that much respect for the other person. And then also you get to see how that other person, their level of education, their level of
Right.
confidence, their thoughts, if they're still living in the 1980s or if they're still living in the 1990s.
Because a lot of them are. A lot of them definitely are. I've even come across people. I told them in the beginning that I was positive, and they kind of faded away and disappeared. But they came back later saying that, I really appreciate you being upfront. Honest with me, I couldn't handle it then, but I really want to try to make it work now. And I tell them it's too late. I'm kind of dating somebody right now,
Right,
and
like
they so you don't have to kick yourself and feel bad because somebody rejected you. It's just because they're not ready to handle who you are. You're probably too much for them, you know, instead of you feeling the other way around, thinking they're too much for you. So don't beat yourself up. You're worth something. You have value. Don't feel like you don't have value. You have value. You're special.
rem- remember, listen to Big Brother Matthew. He said you have value. Remember that. If y'all don't remember that, the priestess will come down off the throne and we're gonna twirl. We're gonna twirl.
You know,
We're gonna
and that's
twirl.
another reason. That's another reason I do the modeling. Like sometimes people ask me why I do the body shots and like, oh, I'm not trying to solicit sex or anything like that, but a lot of people think that they're not sexy. They feel like they don't have any sex appeal just because of the diagnosis. So that's another reason why I do some of the modeling I do. To let folks know you can still you still got it, boo.
Hello. And you know what? That's true because there's a lot of people think because someone has HIV, like that they're already wasting away, and they automatically assume that they have um an AIDS diagnosis. Thank you, Henry Harris. Thank you so much. Please share this live with the people on your friends list. Let them know what you're listening to and watching. This is very pivotal. Please share because more people need to be educated,
Yes, because I got
especially.
diagnosed in 2007.
Okay. Oh, wow. And what was your reaction when you were diagnosed?
I cried for 3 days. I literally cried for 3 days. First and foremost, I went to his house because I caught him cheating, and I went and got tested the next day. And when I got that test, because at that point in 2007, you didn't have to wait 2 weeks to get your results. They can tell you literally 10 minutes whether or not you're
Right.
doing that. And so I said, okay, before I, jump the gun, is it possible that you all can tell me how long this has been in my system? And they
Mhm.
said, well, based on the numbers, it looks like this is something that just happened the last couple weeks.
Mm.
And I went to his house and I was ready to fight,
You
but
was
they
ready
wouldn't let
to
me.
fight, turn his day into night.
Yes, but I'm glad I didn't get to him because I would have ended up in jail and I would have been in a worse situation than. So I just kind of just went away and I literally cried. I was like, I felt like my life was over. But again, that's when I heard God's voice to tell me stop crying and just and ask me, do you trust me? Do you trust me? And He
Hmm.
let me know I want you to be a voice and let people know because I know you love me and you can get through and endure anything. I want you to let other people know who thought think that I don't love them because of what other people is telling them that I do love them. Even if they don't believe in me, just show them love and let them know that they matter, that they have value, and they deserve love, and they can achieve that. But they have to first love themselves, because if they don't love themselves, people are going to take advantage of them and treat them like they're trash when they are a gem, they're treasure. So that is the message that I'm pushing as War Angel, and I'm fighting for them as much as I can, and just hope that as I'm fighting, that they can eventually get up, recuperate, and live the life that they deserve, because they do deserve life.
I agree. That is well said. They do. We all deserve life. And one thing I will say, um, a lot of people will say that because we are living with HIV, um, we don't deserve the same things as everybody else. We don't deserve love, because automatically, like we mentioned earlier, um, they feel that we were out whoring and, or as my mother would say, whoring about and righteously living. Um, Mom, if you watching, I ain't trying to shade you. Don't hurt me, girl. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. But people feel like, and even we ourselves feel like we're undeserving because of this, but we deserve the world like anybody else. We
Right,
deserve
right,
everything else. And that's one thing I've never understood with people, excuse me, that they deem someone living with HIV as less than. Like, and we can go into a plethora of things like, yes, I have a history in sex work. I have a history in making independent films. But that shouldn't demonize me just because I'm living with
right,
HIV.
right,
I actually caught it from someone that I was dating at the time. I'm not sure if they knew their status or not. But because I had a lapse in judgment, didn't protect myself, I have to take responsibility for my part in it as well. But I've come to the place where I stopped beating myself up for it.
right. And
And
that's the thing about, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because some people don't know, because unfortunately people are not getting tested to know, because they are afraid to know. But it's better to know than not know.
exactly, knowing is sexy. Knowing is sexy.
And
And
healthy.
And right, it's very healthy. And I tell people, if you want to know if you're okay, go get tested. Yes, you're going to be fearful. You're going to have those feelings, but knowing should give you some type of peace. You know,
Exactly.
if you're positive, seek treatment and stay in treatment. Because I've known people that have stopped treatment because they were tired. I've had
Right.
people to start treatment and healthy or either, but also we have to talk about the mental health aspect of it as well,
Yes.
because I think a lot of people just look at HIV or AIDS if it progresses that far. A lot of people look at this and they fail to look at at how it affects your mental and emotional health,
Right.
especially with certain medications. I just recently changed medications. I was on a tripla for most of the 7 years that I was on. I changed it a couple of months ago, and I can tell a change in my life because I do deal with depression. I do deal with mental illness.
Hmm.
So making sure that also you're looking at the side effects of medications that plays a part in your mental health as well, because they give you the warning. It causes depression, suicidal thoughts, sleepless nights. So
Right.
with the mental health aspect, what has your experience been concerning the mental health aspect of living with HIV?
Now, with the mental health aspect, for me, kind of like today, I had a discussion with my doctor, and one of the things I was letting him know is, being that you're my doctor, I need to ensure that you actually care about me, and I'm not just a to-do list on your chart, because you need to understand what I'm dealing with to be able to care about me as a
Mhm,
patient as well as a person. And knowing that your doctor cares about you and has value in you as well, that can help with the mental aspect of things, because at least it gives you someone to confide in. Because if you can't trust your doctor, then that's an issue. That's a serious issue. And don't
mhm,
be afraid to ask the questions. Um, if it, on the mental aspect, you definitely need to have at least one person that you can talk to. I literally really say try to have three because you don't want to, dump everything on that one person. You need to have
Right.
people that you can at least go to when that person needs to recover. But if you have a therapist, they're prepared to be that one person. And don't feel like you said earlier, don't feel bad for talking to a therapist because to be honest with you, everybody talks to a therapist or has someone who is somewhat like a therapist. It could be their pastor, and they talk to their
Right.
pastor when they need that mental stability. So you just need to find someone who can handle being your therapist if it's just going to be one person. Um, Sometimes getting the diagnosis can cause a person to break down mentally because they're not really prepared for that, and that's that's serious information that a person has to kind of adjust to because sometimes they're going to adjust their whole entire life because what you eat and how you eat is going to also affect your mental state because food has a effect on your mind, and a lot of people don't realize that. And the medicine, you know, they're getting ready to switch my medication. Matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to be taking a new medication called Biktarvy, and I have to understand that's why you want to have a good relationship with the doctor. You want to know the side effects of these medications and what effect it's going to have on you. Because if you're taking something already, that medicine may cause you to have a serious issue mentally, and
Exactly.
you're going to break down and go crazy. And we don't want people committing suicide. That's the last thing we want.
And I agree. And it's funny that you said Victoria because that's what I'm taking as well.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
because and I can truly say since I changed it, I can tell as I navigate living with depression, which I honestly believe is
Mm-hmm.
just a temporary issue. I have faith in God that He's a healer. But while I'm waiting on the manifestation of the miracle, I'm still going to use what the earthen vessel gave me that God gave us to use.
Just faith without work is dead, baby.
Hello, hello. And a lot of religious people were like, just pray about it, he'll heal you. But it takes work. Got to go to the doctor and check, you know. And for me, I can tell with Victoria, it may not show because I'm a rather petite person. I can
Mm-hmm.
tell that I've gained my weight back. I've gained weight. And I'm happy because with the triplet, for those of us that have taken a triplet, sometimes we don't have appetites with HIV meds. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm thankful for the advancement over the last 7 to 10 years, especially because at one point, you can correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of at one point in time, people were required to take cocktails. They were required to take cocktails, and just
Yeah.
hear the stories from the 80s to the 90s of how so much has changed. Survival rate, mortality rate has changed with HIV. You rarely hear the word AIDS anymore.
Yes. And that's another thing. Like people are very much so getting understanding with that because when
Mhm.
you become undetectable, they're starting to understand. Okay, if you're undetectable, then you're untransmittable. So I don't have to be so stressed out as much. So you do have. It also depends on where you live. I have to take this
Mhm.
because if you live in a region of the world that is completely oblivious to what's going on in the world, then they're
Right.
definitely going to start. They're going to be treating people a whole different way. So that's where the work comes in to make sure we're giving people information to understand what they need to do. Um,
Exactly.
and that's another reason I say again, be honest with your doctor because if you're taking certain medications or if you're getting high or if you're doing certain things and you're not telling them what you're on, and then they give you a medication that's going to cause a side effect to put you in a serious state of mental distress, your life is not going to be as easy as it can.
I
So
agree.
just be honest.
And I'm noticing, and I was talking with a good friend of mine, as it pertains to HIV, we're noticing that, especially in the Black queer communities, we have a lot of people that are using crystal meth, cocaine, marijuana. Well, nothing wrong with a little bit of marijuana, hallelujah. But don't touch my cannabis. But no,
I'll leave it alone.
huh?
I said I'll leave it alone.
But no, I'm just saying now, even with marijuana, you have to be careful, because I'm noticing a pandemic in the queer communities of crystal meth, cocaine, heavy drug use, and we're finding out that a lot of people are using that to cope with different things. And how does that play in this AIDS crisis?
It makes it worse. I mean, because when you're taking those things, you're making your immune system even weaker. You
Mhm,
know, so that's why it's very. It hurts me when I find out. You know, unfortunately, they're doing that because that's their way of dealing with the depression. They're trying to,
mhm,
escape, and they don't want to think about it, and they don't have. It goes back to the education. They don't have the education and the understanding of their diagnosis, and they end up turning to these drugs, thinking, well, if I'm going to die, I'd rather die high, you know.
mhm.
And it hurts me when I see people have given up on themselves and they turn to drugs like that. It really, really does hurt me. But it's
Eh,
like it makes it difficult because once their mind is gone, it's really hard to give them understanding and to reason with them because their mind is literally just dead.
I had that, and that is crucial. That is really crucial, because I noticed that a lot of people are using drugs to cope, and then sometimes while we're on those drugs, we're not in our right mind, and we're making um, risky decisions.
Yeah.
And woo, I could just say woo, hoo, hoo, hoo. I would have driven the run, but no, uh, as bad as I want to. It's crazy, because I've been there myself. I have some people that have seen me at my low point, while using coke and crystal meth, lacing my marijuana, lacing everything, putting cocaine in my drinks. So
And I know some people, when I was asking them why they were doing it, it was because they felt like AIDS or HIV was the worst thing that could happen to them. And I had to try to help them understand it's not the worst thing that can happen to you. It's a lot of other things that are worse than having AIDS or HIV,
exactly.
because you can live with it, but it, you can get to a point where you have no return. But HIV, AIDS is not the worst thing that can happen.
It's not. It's not. It's really not. And that's one thing I had to learn, when I was diagnosed. I felt like my life was over. And my biggest thing was, I'm not going to be able to fall in love. That was the biggest thing. I'm like, no one will date me now. That was the first thing that came to my mind. But you're not alone in this. There are resources, there are support groups, there are people there to help you. And
You know,
you will really see who your circle is.
yeah.
You will really see that. And yes, let's go. Let's go.
And I said this too because some people feel like, well, if you're, because I had people come in and say, well, you're HIV positive, we might as well be together. It's like that's not how it works. you know, just because I'm HIV positive doesn't mean that only a HIV positive person will be attracted to you. There are a lot of people who don't have HIV that approach me, and they're like, it's literally because they see that you have confidence and you love yourself. That is one of the main things that's going to attract love because it's hard for someone else to love you if you don't love yourself. And then on top of that, like I said, being honest, taking care of yourself. You know, they see that you're taking care of yourself. It's not literally just because of the AIDS or HIV. It's because they want you to be around with them for a while. If they're going to
Ex-
love you, they want to love you for as long as they can. So take care of yourself. It's going to help with that.
Big time, big time. And on a side note, we're gonna, keep going in this live. And again, thank you so much. Thank you. I try to have fun on these lives, on these recordings as much as possible. So, what would you advise for someone who is living with HIV, especially if they just found out? What
Mm-hmm.
would you advise them in terms of dating wise?
In terms of dating wise, I definitely say if you find somebody you're attracted to, go out on a couple of dates. You know, if you are the type of person that is wanting to have sex so quickly, I would say let's not do that. Let's
Right.
get to know someone who will respect you for you, not what you can give them sexually. Because after the sex, what do you offer? And if you want to be in a relationship with someone, you should be able to offer something more respect because it's about longevity. So go on a couple of dates, probably the third or fourth date if you want to go ahead and kind of talk about the HIV status. You can do that, but you don't have to. You don't really have to reveal status until they are wanting to actually engage in sex. Now, I would say if it seems like you're dating them and you're not having sex with them and it's probably going on like month number 2 or month 3,
Mm-hmm.
by month 3, I would probably kind of want to have that conversation if it seems like this is someone that you're getting close to and attached to. Because again, you don't want to get super attached to someone, and then by the time you talk about this topic, it's a person who's going to run for the hills.
Mm-hmm.
They will respect you more if you show them that you respect them by disclosing your status. And I would do it in a safe, in a safe place. You know, so do it with a friend that you trust. Do it with, and this is another reason I say have that support person that you can talk to, because if you reveal this information with that person close, and if that person you're revealing it to has a tendency to click out, you have that person that will be there to protect you if you need that protection. You know, it's kind of like when you go buy something from someone you met online. You don't go to some crazy alley. You meet in the parking lot to make sure that they're not trying to do something crazy.
Hello.
Um,
That's key.
so
Meet them out in public,
yeah,
honey. Because the
yeah.
priest carries a blade and mace. I don't play. I carry.
So I would definitely advise, protect yourself on that level. And it can be tricky. It can definitely be tricky because matters of the heart are very sensitive. Are very sensitive. So just be careful, be cautious, be safe, and love yourself. That's the main thing. You have to love yourself,
And
and don't be afraid to date.
I agree. And if I may add, if you have just found out your status, give yourself some time first
Yes,
to adjust and to come to terms with this change in your life.
yes,
And I feel that if you try to date right after you find out your diagnosis, you're not giving yourself time to process what's going on, and you're not giving
yes,
yourself enough time to locate resources, locate a support group, have that support group, and get more educated on how this affects your life, because this not only affects your life, but it affects the person that you're dating or your future mate as well, because it will be an adjustment for them.
yes. And that's very important. That's definitely very important especially if you definitely just got diagnosed, unless it's somebody that you're already dating, and you want to talk about it with them because it's possible that they may be too. But I would definitely say give yourself time to reevaluate and to adjust the new life that you're going to have. And I guess that's where I'm going with love yourself, because you have to learn to re-love yourself and accept yourself and understand the value that you really have in order to not be taken advantage of when you do meet someone, because you don't want to come across desperate. When you come across desperate, people take advantage of you.
And I agree, because people will take advantage of you. Um, and especially people will try to use your status against you in relationships, especially if they have an ulterior motive.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to
Like
be
you said,
mindful of that.
and like you said earlier, like when it does come to the point when you say this isn't going to work for me, and they try to use that against you because you've learned to love yourself, it won't affect you and bother you so bad. That's like I learned to love me as a black man. So when someone of a different race came to me and called me the N word, it didn't bother me. I laughed at them because I know who I am. And I've learned to understand it's not what they call you, it's what you answer.
I
I'm
agree.
just what Jai is.
Say that, say that. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let me stop. Who are you singing to? The Cats?
But this is definitely one of my books, War Angel: The Awakening. It's on Amazon. It's also on Kindle. And
Yes.
again, I share my story because a lot of people are not ready to share their story. So I tell people, use this book. If you really want to see the mind of where somebody is with a certain status, say, hey, I found this book, or I was reading this book about this guy who was diagnosed, and see how they respond to that and how they respond to the story may be an indication how they're going to respond to you. And if they respond negative, you go, okay, let me get away from this motherfucker because this baby, he over here acting crazy. I'm sitting here telling about this book and what happened to this dude in this book. And he talk about how this person, that, and this. Oh, but they don't know secretly, this is me too. So you just show me how your true color is. Get the hell on, baby.
Hello. 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 Do like the old church mothers do. And you have to do that. And thank you for the book, y'all. Go check my brother out. Go check my big brother out. He is talented. He is talented, and I'm like fangirling over here because I'm like, oh my god, because I was trying to figure out who to have on as a guest. And a big shout out to Pastor Marvy Stevenson for advising me on this channel. Thank you so much. He advised me on some things to innovate this live, and I'm so grateful for that. And one thing I will say, I'm very proud of you as well, because I remember the early days when it was revealed of the project, and I was like, I cannot wait, I can't wait. And to see that you're progressing with the movie, your books, and your artistry, and seeing you on Black Lightning and a few other things. I'm sitting there, y'all. I'm sitting there watching TV one night. Had my glass of Merlot in my hand. I'm looking at TV and saying, "Oh, I know him! I know him! Y'all, I know him!" So I'm like, let me get on social media right quick.
That's like my kids. They're watching Black Lightning right now because they're waiting. They literally started from the very beginning. Like they could have just went to the episode and watched, but they are literally watching the entire season just to see what episode I'm gonna pop up on Black Lightning, and it's kind of fun, doing that kind of stuff. But again, for me, it is a way to show people just because you're diagnosed with something doesn't mean you can't achieve your dream.
Say that again for the people in the back.
Just because you're diagnosed with something doesn't mean you can't achieve your dream.
Exactly.
I'm possible, not impossible. I'm possible.
I am possible. Say that. And I wanted to add, living with HIV, and I know that filming and being a creator, director, writer, and an author, and I understand that the schedule is very demanding at times, and this was pre-corona. This was BC, before corona. How does how do you take care of yourself? How do you remain healthy with all of the stress and the demands of having the schedule of filming? You have the dress rehearsals, you have the audition process, creating process, meetings, whatever. How do you keep healthy in all of this?
Stay focused. You have to learn how to stay focused, and you have to know what you want and understand what your why is. And when your reason of what you're doing is strong, it will outweigh anything else. So anything that's trying to distract you or come up, you can learn how to, I'm saying that's okay. I have this in prioritize. It's definitely all about prioritizing and arranging and creating a schedule and sticking to it. So instead of me trying to go to the gym, I have my own stuff here. I have my weight bench. I have pretty much everything. And the first thing I do in the morning, for the most part, is get up and now exercise. The days that I have to film, I may not exercise that day, but if I'm on set, I'm still doing something. I just stay active and eating right. Eating is 80% of staying healthy and staying in shape. So working out is just 20%. It'll just tone everything up. But being focused is definitely what you have to have, because if you can't stay focused, then you'll easily fall off of whatever you say you're setting for yourself.
I agree, especially falling off. And I'm learning that now, balance. because you have to make time to rest as well. You need to sleep. You need to
Yeah.
eat healthy as well. One other
And like
thing. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
balance is definitely important, and it's not just balancing your body; it's mind, body, and soul that you have to ensure that you're taking care of. All three.
And that is very beneficial. You have to do it holistically, because HIV not only affects one area, but it affects your body as a whole. And a lot of times, especially as we grow older living with this, we'll see different changes in our bodies. Like we'll see different things change,
Right.
and just in general, we'll see a lot of change. Like I can truly say I can tell some physical changes in me personally. I know one of them being the extreme weight loss that I went through, because people were asking my uncle, "What's wrong with Yannick?
Mm.
Is this child on drugs or something?" And I was like, "No, they're dealing with some things right now." And because everybody's like, "Your cheeks look sunken in. I'm seeing your cheekbones now. You already have high cheekbones, but come on." And so, but again, thank you so much. Before we go, tell us about any future projects or what you have going on now.
Well, I released a second book called War Angel Inner Demons. I actually changed the cover. This is the original, the first cover. And with this particular story, it's talking about just being honest with the inner demons that we're all dealing with, because you're not the only one dealing with something. So don't feel bad if you feel like you're dealing with something, and don't be afraid to confront it. Because we
Mm-hmm.
have to confront those inner demons in order to conquer them. I'm actually working on turning this into a series so it'll have a further reach than just the book.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and I'm excited about that. And then I'm also in the process of rebuilding and expanding the nonprofit organization and building a school so I can allow people, again, diagnosed or not, you can pursue and achieve your dream. And I want to be able to help people with that. So I'm doing everything that I can. So that's one of my mottos. I'll do what I can, when I can, while I can, until God calls me home.
I love that motto. I love that motto. And hey, Jordan. Hey, Bruce. I see y'all on. I see y'all on. I see y'all on. Darling, I see y'all on. I see y'all on. Yes. And again, thank you so much. Can you tell us where to find you on social media?
I'm on Facebook. You can do Facebook / all about Matt. I'm also Instagram, war.angel.reborn. And I'm on Twitter at God's War Angel. So, and again, the movie is on YouTube. It's free to watch. It's about a good 2 hours, but you can do it in increments if you need to. The two
I will,
hours will definitely pass by quickly.
I will be watching that again tonight. So, oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And hi, Overseer Walker. How are you? So glad to have you on tonight. I'm excited. I'm having a lot of my family and friends on tonight. So I'm so grateful. And again, thank you so much for coming on. This means the world to me. This really means the world, because y'all, I look at Matthew as like one of those he is a celebrity, duh. But it's like this is an A-lister, and I'm like a D-lister. And I'm like, oh, they're on my show, yes, But I'm very excited, and I wanted to do this because I wanted it to be heard from the Black perspective. I wanted that to be heard from the Black perspective because I feel that so many times, um, people of color, especially Black queer individuals, are overlooked. When
Yeah.
it comes down to HIV, we hear about everybody else's struggles, but you rarely hear it from a Black person's perspective. And that's why I wanted you on, because it doesn't take just one voice. It takes many voices to amplify the sound.
It does. And they need to know that they can still be successful in life, And that's another reason I count it all joy. I know you said you're excited, but I'm excited too, because God has allowed me to be in contact with other like celebrities that are like out there, like major names out there. And they pour into me. And when they pour into me, it allows me to pour into other people who are not able to connect to these people that are literally big in the industry. And I'm very grateful for that. I've learned to listen when it's time to listen and then work when it's time to work. So thank you for having me on to help other people, because that's one of my missions in life, to help everybody that I can who is willing and acceptive of that.
And thank you so much. I appreciate it again. And again, I'm so proud of you, and I'm excited with you. I'm excited for you. And now when you get all of these awards and things, well, when we start getting our awards, because I'm speaking it into existence, your girl
Right.
gonna have I'm gonna be an EGOT, okay? I'm gonna be an EGOT
See,
by the time I'm 50, okay? Like I'm on that. I'm on that. Gotta go hard in the paint. I'm so excited for you. And I cannot wait to watch your movie again, and y'all get his books. Please support Black creatives. I cannot preach that enough. Please support Black creatives. Please, please. And Matthew, I need you to send me all of your information, any reels that you have, because I want to make sure that I promote you as
okay.
well, from one creative to another. Y'all, us Black creatives, we all we got. We have to
Yes.
support each other and not throw the shade, not bicker or anything. We got too much going on right now. So support your brothers and sisters. No matter if you don't like that person, you can be shade all you want to, but still share their stuff. If you want to be petty, share their stuff. Get them that view with your shade, okay? You know, and that's how it works. But again, thank you again.
Thank you.
I'll let you give the close out of this session.
Well, I just want to say again, thank you all for listening. Thank you for having me on to share. Once again, if you are having issues or if you feel like you're in a corner, I am more than willing. This is one of the reasons why War Angel is here. He's here to take whatever heat you feel like you can't take. If you want to throw everything on him to see how people are going to respond, please do that so you can protect yourself if that's what you need to do. I'm on Facebook. If you ever need to reach out and talk to someone, I'm more than happy to talk with you and share with you to continue further and live. Enjoy your life, live your life. Know that you're special, you're valuable, and you do matter.
And thank you again. And everybody, y'all know what the priestess says, because I done said all I got to say. Live, love, and be free. Smooches.